Right, I'm back in the garage. Like I said, I was going to be in the video you just watched before, if you just watched it. If you just watched this video from now, and you haven't seen one from before this, hi all, sort of basically. As you can see, the Amanco hired men I've dragged out of the shed into the garage. If you have watched my video before this one, basically I've done my shed and run through all the faults I've got on the engines down at the minute. The engine which I put into a show from a couple of weeks time, or next weekend actually, is packed up. A night has gone on it, so I won't go too much in that now. You can watch that in the other video. The Amanco I've dragged out. Like I said, it's in the garage. I've cleaned it all up. Me and Gwen have spent about 3 hours on it today. Clean it up. It hasn't been cleaned up for a long time. We've shined out the flywheels, done all the brass, done all the metal work with basically just an ordinary rag, cleaned it all off, then sprayed it in 3-in-1 oil, and then wiped it all around, and then polished the brass afterwards because you get this spray from the oil. Cleaned the trolley out with ordinary furniture polish. I put a bit of water in it. We did because we were running it while we was cleaning the flywheels up. So I'm going to see if it will start for you guys in a minute. Just a short little run for you guys. As you can see, it was a little bit soft to start then, a few times, swinging it over to get the fuel through. You probably have noticed in a lot of my videos when I start an open crank engine, I always hold the inlet valve in and crank the engine up to as fast as I can get it. Then I pull the handle off the shaft, and then I let go of the inlet valve. It's not the best way to do it because obviously it's not pulling up as much fuel as it really wants to be, because obviously you're holding the inlet valve in, so you are taking the sort of pressure away for sucking up the fuel. But a lot of engines I've got the Fuller & Johnson, if you start it without pushing the valves, and he tends to back kick, and the handle obviously gives you some whack. My cousin started out with me once at one of the shows. He wanted to start it, and the handle flipped up and chipped his tooth. And another time when he went to start one of my engines, the handle flew off and hit his shoulder. This one as well, when he fires, he gives, don't back kick, but he gives a hell of a bang as he's going to fire off, so the handle jolts off the shaft. And when we first bought it, my gunner swung it over and started, and the handle flinged out of his hand as it started, and it came flying across and smacked me right in the shin of my leg. I was in a lot of pain. It was really sore. It was in the other leg, which I didn't break because I broke one of my foot a few months before, and lucky enough it hit the other leg, but I was in a bit of pain. So that's why I was holding the inlet valve into starting them. Like I said, it's not the best way, but it always works for me. It takes a bit longer sometimes, as you can see, but I'd rather do it the safer way. The Brasso, just clean it up. A good tool and a good tip. You can buy little Dremels. They're like a little sort of, almost like a mini drill, long shafted thing. A lot of you should know what a Dremel is. If not, search it on the Google. They're not that dear to buy. They're anything, you probably get a cheap one for about 15 quid. Anything up to 30, 50 quid. I've got one down my shed. Oh, it's about 30 quid it was. But it's got little buffing wheels in it as well. You can use that as a little drill for pilot holes. Got wire brushes and that on it. And it's also got a little buffing tool. So I'll polish all the brass up as best I can. And then I'll get it out, the little Dremel with the buffing wheel. And I'll buff it all up to a mirror shine. It looks quite good. But like I said, you can pick them up for next to nothing, little Dremels. And it just saves hours of trying to scrub them, and it just gives that final buffing to them. But while I'm in this video, when you've got an engine, you're going to go away to the show, you all the time think, hang on, what tools should I take? And then you get there, and you think, yeah, I left that home, or wish I brought that with me. I'm going to show you guys what tools I take when I take, on the average run of my engines out. Obviously it varies from different starting handles to the engines. I've got an engine which is buzz coiled, so I need to take a battery with me on that one. But this little tool setup I've got here tonight for you guys is the average tool set I take out for everything. I might just show you guys a bit, run through it all, if it gives you any good ideas. Basically what I'm going to show is I've got a little tiny toolbox. He's probably about just under 2 foot long by about 8 inches wide. A simple little tray. I always take a can of French polish just to clean the trolleys and engine up. 3-in-1 oil or WD-40 or any oil spray, it comes in handy. I know I use it to clean the engine up. You never know, you might have a faulty engine, you will need to undo a seized up nut or anything. Little Brasso cleaning sort of rag. A lot of people don't polish the engines up at shows and that, but this is what I take around. Obviously ordinary Brasso. You want rags, a pair of scissors I take. These are sanding blocks. They're really good for cleaning up your flywheels when the engine's running. I know you take a couple of them, I've got 4 in a minute. I won't need all of them. Fine sort of wet and dry paper, but we just use it dry. That's all. Anything handy, clean up spark plugs in between the gaps. Points on engines. Obviously points on the igniters. Yeah, that's what basically use that for. A little file set comes in handy. The finer the files, the better, because obviously if you get points which get pitted, they're easy to file flat. I've got a proper point sort of grinding stone here somewhere, but I haven't been able to find it for you guys tonight. So a little file set's handy to take around. A pair of pliers come in handy for any split pins or springs which fly off or need to be replaced. A roll of insulation tape comes handy for HT leads if they melt by touching the hot exhaust pipe with certain engines or against a hopper or any other thing you've got. Sort of PTF tape, which is that white tape you put on plumbing fittings. That is handy sometimes because if you do get a blockage on a fuel tank and you take it off the show, sometimes you can't get the seal quite right, so it's worth putting a little bit on that, and that will get you out of trouble. Obviously more metal polish. A little standing knife comes in handy. Little wire brushes, they're really good for cleaning up spark plugs, cleaning up points. Again, you might have a little seized up nut or something. You need to wire brush it off a bit before you put the oil on it. These are old Whitworth spanners. Most of them are Lister ones. That one's made in England, that one is. But I've got Lister ones here. I always take them around because they fit pretty much every engine I've got, even the old American engines. Just for spanners, not a lot of people like them, but I find them handy for taking around shows because you don't have to take around a big box of spanners. A pen if you want to sell stuff, or a pencil. Anything from tiny end screwdrivers to a Phillips screwdriver to a bit bigger flat-headed screwdriver. Obviously more adjustables there. And this is my little tray I'll take around. My Hercules and my Fuller & Johnson got funny fuel tanks for filling up, so I always pour the petrol into one of these fairy liquid bottles, and it's easier pouring into the engine there without not getting it everywhere. Plus the nozzle is smaller and it don't sprue out everywhere of the tank, so that's handy to take around. A decent oil can to take around. I like the old vintage cans, and that's it's not castor oil in it, it's the SA30 oil in that, but it's all cleaned out, so I put SA30 in. That's the backup to fill up that one on the way. Grease you could take around, guys, but I normally find if I put grease in the engines before I leave home, that will put me through the weekend of rallying. So you don't need to keep topping it all the time, you only give it a little turn so often. Another little oil can. These are for machinists, sort of lathes, and most in common on sewing machines. But I find it really handy getting to the little tiny oiling points like on the governor ones and stuff. The big ones tend to make more mess and don't get into the hole. And also you want to take when you go away is a can of petrol or diesel if you've got a diesel engine. Spark plugs if you've got an engine which needs spark plugs. Like I said, I've got a buzz cord engine, I've got to take a battery around for that one sometimes, but it's pointless carrying a battery all the time. Did I mention rags? You want rags as well. Like I said, can of petrol, can of diesel, whatever your engine runs on. A decent container to carry water in. If you want to take a pump, you obviously want to take belts and stakes to peg them into the ground. A good tip for you guys is, I haven't got one here to show you, but hopefully I can explain it to you. If you've got an engine and you've got a pump, just put these eyelets on each end of the pump and the engine. So I've got one on the front, so I've got those adjuster things, they're like a hook on each end, and you turn the bar in the middle and tension it or slacken it. Get a long peg and you peg up an angle from the engine or pump. So I'm going to say that's the engine's going to be there and the pump is going to be at the front. I will put in a stake in the ground like that and then put one of the tension bars, hook it on, and then I'll do the reverse of that on the other end of the pump over the other side. So when you've got the belt on it, you can tension them both up, which pull this towards us, and we look at the other way, it'll pull the pump to the other way. So it'll keep the belt in tension. Also stop the belt from sliding off as well. It's good tension on it. Obviously you can't do it on concrete and that because you can't bang in a stake, but on grass it works really well. And I've got, this one does rock around a bit when he's working on grass, so I normally will stake him just to stop him rattling so much. But I just thought I'd give that little tip for you guys. Also, you get your engine all shined up, clean into that, brassed on, engine shining. Your cast on wheels always look dull. Get oily rag, and once you set it up in the grass or on concrete, you wipe them over oily rag on the cast on wheel, just on the faces. It brings them up a treat. I'll give you a little sort of sneak preview. I haven't got oil on a rag here, but I've got 3-in-1 oil. And it gets a really nice shine. So you probably see sometimes people got their engines up the line and you look at them and think, how do they get the wheels look so shiny as you drag them across concrete and that? That's how they do it. That only lasts quite a while. If you're just going to move it from grass into the back of your van trailer and then you go to the rally week after, it should be alright. But if you're going to pull it out and pull it across concrete, it'll go quick. The shine will go. So I hope this little video has been interesting for you guys. It's annoying you book an engine in for a show and it goes wrong, so you can't take the correct one to that show, but at least I've got other engines to fall on too. But I thought I'd just give you a little look for what tools I take. Just bear in mind if you might have started off getting stationary engines, you know what average things to take around. Because when I first started, I was going around great big toolboxes with virtually everything, and I was like, I'm carrying all this weight around, never use tools, and you always find other people use them more than what you did. So I'm thinking, I'm carrying this around for the sake of it. And now I've done it for about 4 years now. I know what tools I've got to take. My friends have got other certain tools. We tend to take different tools between us, so when we're all together, everyone's got everything. I keep a voltmeter tester thing in the van all the time when we go to these shows. Spirit level, you want to level the engine up. Open cranks, always like it slightly leaning back. On the concrete here it is leaning back now because the wheels at the back are smaller and the front, so it sends the back leaning. So that's the better way for them. Level's alright, but ideally you want to be slightly back. Not front down. You get a lot of people do that, and they for ages starting the engine, then the engine runs rich, and then they can't cut it down, and then it dies, and then it gets oily and everything, because the oil's coming down from the dripper, from the oil drip, and it's run down the piston right to the front too quick, and it's getting mixed up, and it gets all carbon up, and the engine don't like it, and the fuel is staying to the front too much. It wants to blow it and push it out for the back as quick as it can. So always want the engine slightly back, and level sideways. A lot of people do know to run the engine back, never bother leveling it sideways, but you want them to be level sideways, because that oil is coming straight down to the centre of the piston, hits one side, and it's going to go just around one side. It won't go down the other side if it's leaning too much. Wolsleys, people do a mistake with Wolsleys and Lister Ds as well. They've got to be level, because the float sticks, it will rub against the sides it's going up and down, so it makes the engine run quite lumpy. So I hope this video has been handy for any of you people out there. Like I said, it's probably more helpful with people which have just started off with stationary engines, and it might be helpful with people who have been doing it for years. So any questions, put in the comments below. Thumbs up, please subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks for watching. Join you in another video soon. Hopefully the next video I'll be doing is a little Ruston PB I just bought. You've seen videos of it running, but I haven't done a video talking about it yet. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll join you again. So cheers and good night.